A lovely morning to you, and thank you very much for being with us on UBC TV. Welcome to the Extra. I'm Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono, and today we want to look at a couple of things, but more so we are focusing on the fight against corruption in Uganda and the recent appointed cabinet by the president. Of course, they have not yet been sworn in or approved, apart from, I think, the vice president and the prime minister, because those are the lead. We have the vice president and then the leader of government business, definitely. Parliament commenced, so those were cleared. But we'll also look at that and some little issues regarding law. What does the law say? Because we've also had these issues being on social media here and there, and with me I have a lawyer. I have a counsel with me in studios with whom we are going to be discussing this. Now, join me, welcome my guest this morning, that is Counsel John Kabagambe, who is a lawyer. He's also an actor, by the way. He's a man who wears so many coats. Let me just not even dive into that. And he's here with me. He's also a political analyst as well. Good morning, Counsel. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It is a pleasure always having you as we look at a number of issues in this country.
Yes.
Now, of late, we've not gotten any report from police, but we've seen something similar or likely to be investigations into one of the biggest people in this country. Why do I say biggest? Because we've always said, but we need bigger people in bigger offices.
Yes. And
today I was reading one of the papers that indicated a report has been handed over to the president. That is one of the dailies that are on our streets every day. And of course we've had the president say that this is Chisanja, no sleep.
Yes.
And no corruption. Now, over the years, he's sounded such drums. I think for the last so many decades, we had Chisanja, Hakuna Mchezo.
Yes.
We can name, we've been having this. And today in this program, we want to look at the fight against corruption. Is this going to be the term? We are seeing serious stopgaps, serious fight, looking at where we are spending, where we shouldn't.
Yes.
We saw the Ministry of Finance and Treasury coming up and saying, we've been spending money that we could be saving. And of course, in all this, you find that still there's someone who could have been getting. How would you look at Chisanja no sleep in regards to the fight against corruption?
Oh yeah, thank you so much. At his inauguration at Kololo, that's when the president mentioned Chisanja no sleep. And immediately, that's when we actually saw security moving in, and you saw the action, the series of actions against the former Speaker of Parliament. Vehicles were being impounded. You saw the CID moving in up to parliamentary building.
Parliament becoming a scene of crime.
A scene of crime. It actually made front page news. One of the local dailies, I think it was Monitor, took a picture of the doors of Parliament with, in essence, a scene of crime. And that was so symbolic. So we've seen a clampdown at Parliament. Investigations are ongoing. Apart over and above police action against the former Speaker of Parliament, we saw actually the IGG. There was a letter that was moving around, circulating in social media. The IGG had been tasked to investigate all the allegations surrounding, I think, unjust enrichment, all the allegations against the former Speaker. Yeah, and then we've seen heads rolling at internal affairs. Quite a number of people have been removed. I think, was it Monitor or no, it was New Vision that actually showed that a number of them had been implicated in 3.5 billion maintenance fees that a certain service provider in regard to the cameras, street cameras. You know, that money was probably misappropriated. So you can see that when the president says term no sleep regarding corruption, this time round, actually certain things are happening. But just like you mentioned, when I had Hakuna Mchezo in the past, I actually thought that a series of actions were going to happen. You remember a certain minister, Kabafunzachi, was arrested on allegations of soliciting a bribe. Was it Pearl Hotel? And then we thought a number of things were going to happen, but then somehow the momentum subsided. So we just hope that this time around there's going to be a lot of consistency. And then, of course, the other thing, in the previous term, we had the Mabati scandal. So let me hope that at the beginning of the term, you know, like some of these things are announced, a few actions are taken, but let me hope now with this term, no corruption, no sleep, there's going to be consistency up to the end. Because Ugandans were so excited about the Mabati investigations. I remember local dailies having headlines.
We had also the Mike Mawanda thing of cooperatives money. Exactly.
The Michael Mawanda thing happened. I think it was the president who said this thing happened and no action, and he was arrested. But for the Mabati, of course, there's been a little bit of criticism that was selective prosecution, that quite a number of people were implicated, but now, you know, the fall happened on just one or two people. Actually, one person.
Been baptized by fire.
Yeah, so Ugandans are eager to see the war on corruption being consistent. Yes, because a number of people, let's say in Kampala, Wakiso, these areas, people just want to see service delivery. Good roads, water, and the rest. Health services. And they know that, for instance, for as long as money is being not accounted for, money is being embezzled, and no action is being taken, the citizens are suffering by not getting access to good services from government. Yeah, so basically it's not a witch hunt. And for as long as you see Ugandans excited about it, it comes from that. It's actually not politics. Ugandans want to see services. They want to see a Uganda that works for everybody. Yes.
Now, you are a lawyer, and I want to ask you this, because you're also a political analyst, you follow politics in this country.
Yeah.
Where is the problem? Because now, someone being arrested in Uganda on allegations of corruption, and we see CID, security personnel, going to his home, checking here and there. They have those black boxes that make people think they are carrying something so big in them. You see them, because we get clips.
Yes.
Sometimes the media is welcome during these. And I remember, even when I was still a reporter, I did follow. I remember it was Afande Grace Akulo,
yes,
heading CID. We would go with these teams. Of course, some level they would tell us, don't come, but we would find ways of, yes, capturing. And you know, we make the scene look so we have them.
Yes.
But as we move on, we see a premature death of these cases. Some have alluded to the law.
Yes.
Others say it is the judiciary. Some will tell you, no, it is police, because a case is as good as the facts. Police will tell you, no, we do our role, we prepare, we hand over. What happens in there? Look, from a legal perspective, I don't want to believe that the few people that are in Luzira because of corruption, the likes of this man who was the principal accountant, also the prime minister,
yes,
Geoffrey Kazinda, friend who died in there, Bob Misango, And to mention but
Bob
a few.
Kasango, yes.
Bob Kasango. And to mention but a few. It's just a handful. Don't want to believe that these were very reckless while taking money. But what happens within there? I've covered many of these cases. We've discussed many of these cases. What happened to the former Speaker of Parliament? I've seen it happen to so many. I've given you the Sisenamu Jews, Honorable Mike Mawanda, and still you see those people go home getting these boxes, forensic and all that. And it's a good thing. Because it shows, yes, some have gone to Ruzira. I remember Amos Tugorobi, Honorable, was saying God had a plan to take him there so that he would see what people are going through. So when he comes out, he's a better advocate. Unfortunately, I long to wait for that, seeing him advocate for the people in Ruzira. So Ugandans may lose excitement.
I think part of the problem is mixing politics with the war on corruption. I have a belief that when the security force agencies move in to do something, they know that they are being watched. I do not think CID can mess up an investigation, especially in a high-profile case like that. I don't believe so. Because, look, if I'm to give an example, the CID chief, Tom Magambo, lost a child around that time. But I read somewhere that he could not even excuse himself. He could not leave the command of the investigation. That shows you the significance, the importance of the investigations, the importance of the operation. So at that level, I believe there's no policeman, no investigator will botch up an investigation like that. But now, when at a later stage, when it comes to actually now arresting, prosecuting, I have a feeling there are some political considerations. And the other thing is, all these agencies are not totally independent. There's a word that is being used by a certain politicians. So and so has been guided. I think it's Kabanda, whom I heard one time saying someone had been guided. So I have a feeling that when the agencies carry out the investigations, probably they have to be guided on who needs to be arrested, who needs to be prosecuted. Yes, and well, of course, from the legal standpoint, I also believe that courts do their work. But remember, the burden of proof is on the state, the DPP, the police, to adduce compelling evidence. So you have to look at it from both sides. The will to prosecute someone. Has someone been guided that everybody should actually face legal reprisals, or some of them should be spared for political expedience? You get what I mean? For instance, you remember there were allegations when the former speaker was sanctioned. You'd drive to Kampala, there are demonstrations against corruption. But then the hammer didn't fall on the speaker. Some people have talked about strategic patience. Yeah, so this monster of corruption, the war against it, it doesn't seem to be so easy. There's political calculation sometimes, and that could inform why investigations against some are stalled and others move on. Because there are a lot of political calculations.
That said, I want us to look at the law. Now we've talked at institutions and people within there, but the law, I remember one time, about 80 years back, His Excellency had a proposal that was knocked left, right, and center by politicians, where he was saying if someone has stolen huge sums of money, and this person gets police bond, goes to court, gets bail, you know, He's out there because the law allows that. He has these huge sums of money. How on earth do you expect that person not to influence the machinery that is made to produce evidence and not have that person really have an interference with this law? Second, that, well, this person continues with life. I know someone who was on a corruption scandal. I think he was having a degree. Today, I think he's even finished his PhD. The case has never been dealt with. He made, I think, an appeal. And we don't know when that appeal will come to an end.
Yes.
It means someone may even die when the case is still there. So he looked at the element of our laws in the fight against corruption.
Okay, the issue you raise is really pertinent. Because as we say in the law, justice denied. Justice delayed is justice denied. I think all institutions need to be on board. Cases of corruption, certain cases should be fast-tracked. I mean, if you are fast-tracking a case of murder, of a serial murderer like Okero, and it's televised, everybody can see what's going on at Gaba. We should do the same with corruption. The
man appealed. We never know how long the appeal. Will it also be expeditiously dealt with?
I have a feeling this one is going to be expedited because it's in public interest. But corruption cases are also in public interest. I think we need to, the executive, the judiciary need to be on board. They have to be speaking the same language. Because when someone steals $1 billion shillings, 500 billion, you know, in terms of health, those are lives of people.
True.
You get it. It's like killing so many children.
Health centers, many you could build there.
Exactly. So this is public interest. And we need to have a coalition of these agencies coming together to say there's no way we are going to, you know, like the Uganda say, okutira kuliso. It shouldn't happen at all. So, of course, now there's the legal point of bail, the right to bail, that you are entitled to bail. You get it? I mean, courts of law will say bail is a constitutional right.
Yes.
You know? And for as long as it's a right, the courts will say, for as long as it's a constitutional right, and for as long as the applicant has the requirements and has lodged in this application, we are going to consider. You are going to consider the what? We are going to consider that application. You know, so there's a little bit of that. What the law says and then the practice.
Okay.
Yes.
Very interesting. What the law says and the practice. Now, still looking at the war against corruption. President Yoweri Museveni has always spoken bad about corruption. And we know, yes, we have the police, we have the executive, we have the legislature. But let's also look at the Ugandans themselves. Have we hated corruption? Are we ready to have a corrupt free society? Why am I asking this? Today, the corrupt are respected in society. The corrupt are honored in places of worship. The corrupt are taking political positions. Even through corruption, any Ugandan will know we've just come from an election. Voter bribery. A person would clearly ask a candidate for money. Says, Mwami Chirabo, you're coming, ozotusa ululu. Na ye mukuru soko tuwe kusente. And in paper, you give. Chicho chiwede. You know, you give us money. And even people will tell you that you save money, have money, give the electorate, if you can't bribe the electoral commission, we have those allegations that have not yet been justified, but at least they are there, that someone will tell you for them they gave this amount and they were declared. These are not justified by law, but we've heard them. And some will say we've seen them even happening. Now, have we as Ugandans? Someone will tell you, but also others still. I've heard this of recent. That was the person you're pushing this far, who has just been a speaker in this office for these years. Do you want to tell us those that have been there longer? You get it?
Yes.
Now I want to look at the public. Someone will leave our son. And sometimes I look at our judge. I'm like, he's going through a hard time. When you do good, if you touch us, the Bahororo, if that person is Amhororo, our elders will come. Even in this, I remember seeing a clip of one of the traditional leaders. I hope you came across that.
I did.
Yeah? And he was very furious.
Yeah, yes.
Very furious. Not our daughter, not our daughter.
Yeah, from the east.
So, not to waste time, have we hated corruption?
The truth of the matter is that corruption has become part of the Ugandan culture, the Ugandan psyche. Look, when someone is appointed to office, you hear people saying, "Bamuwadde kulya." He's been given, bonanza and eating bonanza.
True, our offices also come with a lot of bonanzas. I want to believe if someone becomes an MP, Kabagambe, even if it were me and I became an MP, certain things that my wife would know, certain things have changed. If I became a minister, indeed, certain things. So there is so much kulia in Bukulembeze.
But you see, you are entitled to those. Now, when it goes to misappropriation,
yes,
stealing of public funds, that is not part of the kulia. That is criminal. You're not supposed to. You enjoy the benefits, the statutory benefits that you're supposed to have. The emoluments. I mean, public service has attached certain benefits. The salary, the allowances, the per diem, that are legal. Nobody's contesting that. But when it goes to things like you are approving a certain tender, you are pocketing certain kickbacks, you are misappropriating money in your docket, when it goes there, then that is criminal. And so, going back to your question, Ugandans have embraced theft and corruption. Actually, before we accuse the government, we need to take the blame. Someone will go to Minister of Lands, wants to transfer a title, and it has a budget that he's got to give someone money in order for that transaction, the conveyance of the land title, to be expedited.
Actually, just to supplement on that, here in Uganda, if someone is arrested, so and so has been arrested. Before anyone asks what is the offense, someone will tell you, Socket Funisend. Let's first mobilize some funds before you go to police. What are you going to purchase there? I mean, what are you paying for? Because constitutionally, police bond is free of charge.
Yes.
If that person qualifies for bond, and I can authoritatively say and mention, have friends who have been arrested and they have gotten out of police bond free of charge, Kajansi police station. I'm born around there. Have sometimes someone calls you so-and-so's son, they're here, these cases, and police bond. Have witnessed it with the new DPC of Katwe police station. I don't even know his name, but all I know he was from Jinja, the new DPC of Katwe police station. He was from Jinja, then transferred to Katwe. I've seen police bond at Katwe police station, free of charge, under the new DPC. I've seen that. Nalumunye, there's a police post in Nalumunye. I think it's Katale somewhere up there. I've seen police bond free of charge. Bring this, bring that. We give this person police bond.
Yes.
But I can also mention police posts have gone to. And I can authoritatively say, Kabaragara. If the DPC does not intervene, it is very hard to get a free police bond in Kabaragara.
You see, I've told you that it's part of culture. The people in certain offices who expect to be bribed, who expect that the resource envelope for this particular government project, the 10%, 20%, if not more, he's supposed to take benefit. You understand? Then the public interaction with those offices, like the giver and the taker of these services, they're all corrupt.
So we can say, for all have sinned and fallen short of God's glory.
Exactly. It's just that we point accusing fingers at government. And then it becomes so big a task because of the secrecy involved in the entire transaction. You know? So this corruption monster is very, very complicated. But society, the Ugandan society, has embraced this. Someone was giving an example of how, for instance, a school will say, will levy. Let me give an example of the other element of corruption. Look at private schools, for instance. Do you know that some of them levy certain fees which are not supposed to be part of the fees? And they will actually insist that you first pay that before you pay the legal fees, because they expect you might challenge these fees. And now, since there's a regulator, Ministry of Education, it might come knocking. You know, I encountered a scenario where a certain parent had paid zero balance school fees for last term. But when he went to a school and was told that school is celebrating 20 years, there's supposed to be a jubilee, so he's supposed to pay 150. And he asked, so are you saying that over and above me paying the school fees, my child does not qualify? He said, no, you do not qualify to bring your child here because you haven't paid the illegal fee. So sometimes it's downright extortion.
Sometimes even trips.
Exactly.
You bring nursery kids to UBC, Parliament, and I think Hot Loaf. How on earth, the school is in Kampala. In Kampala, how on earth must each child pay 120,000?
Exactly. Over and above the exorbitant school fees.
What is it that they are going to... How much do these institutions charge? You're going to get a poster, park them. They sit excess.
Do you know there are some schools, private schools, that charge more than university fees?
There are very many.
And then over and above the exorbitant fees, they are actually extorting money from parents. So I'm bringing this example to show you that corruption is at all levels. But because...
So we only condemn it where we are, as citizens of Uganda, we only condemn it where we are not benefiting from it.
And even the people who condemn, the analysts, the elites, let's say an elite, a certain elite X is driving badly on the road.
Yes.
He's been on a talk show like this one, but after that he's driving so badly. After condemning corruption, he's waved down by a traffic policeman. He says, you know what, you are overtaking in a corner on humps and what? What is he going to do? Is he going to say, let's go down to the station and I record a statement? He's going to pull out some money out of his pocket. and give this policeman his wave to continue. And then after that, he's going to cite the Human Rights Commission report, pinning corruption on police as being the #1 culprit. So there's a lot of, you know, hypocrisy about, you know.
It just reminded me, I don't know who I had say, but he said, I think I was talking of how we should limit investigations into corruption. He said, because now these are stealing and investing here. If we over-torture them, popping here, they may now have to invest outside, which may be bad. Have to investigate, but also don't benefit from this money.
Oh yes, that was called the lifestyle audit. I think some time back, during when Fande Nakalema was in charge of the State House Anti-Corruption, I think she made that kind of recommendation. And there was that kind of thinking that, you know, you need to tread carefully about that, because now the thieves in government who are stealing billions, at least you see a hotel being built, a school being built locally here, and then they employ
land
people
shooting up,
that sort of thing, instead of someone moving out of the country with money bags and then investing in Kenya, South Africa, or wherever. There was that argument some time back, but now we've seen lifestyle audit on the public. The elites are doing lifestyle audit on the Rolls Royce, on the former speaker, and it has started happening because I read somewhere that the IGG, the current IGG, moved in to attach property belonging to Kazinda, which he could not justify. Then there's a number, scores of civil servants whom they would come to you and say, we know your salary at UBC. How come you're putting up this arcade? And some of them voluntarily were giving up. So I think we shouldn't fear that people are going to take money out of the economy to other jurisdictions. Because now if we do that, it will be as if someone can steal and get away with impunity. We need to attach the property, the ill-gotten gains of the corrupt.
Well, we are still looking at the war against corruption and the five-year term of this new government. Will we see a tremendous change in the fight against corruption? Recently, I saw the appointed, though not yet approved by Parliament, State Minister for Local Government, saying, I'm coming for you. You got this amount of money per parish, show, justify. If you can't, then it's simple. We do what? We take you on. But you've mentioned about Ugandans being complacent when it comes to corruption. Someone will tell you, my child didn't get the marks to go to this school, but I'm sure you know somebody there. You're an OB there, you know somebody there. I can raise some amount of money, go speak to them nicely, I get a vacancy for my child. Now you feel like asking this parent, now if your child didn't get these marks, but you're putting him in that school, if what you want me to do goes successful, what are you breeding in this child? That money can get you, because she'll still know that she didn't qualify, but she's there. And also some schools, the HM will tell you, it's okay, bring. For us, we know, at the end of year 1, exams, won't get the average child shop. Hey, so let that not stress you, Chirabo. If he's dying so much, bring him, we have space to accommodate. But we know our senior 4, we want cream. So he or she will come here, then we shall chop. And that will go, and the father will have nothing to blame us, because the child failed to perform to the best. Though some surprise them anyway. Now, the complacent levels, the lack of independence, like you said, guidance. With all that said, when we come out of this break, we want to know what can be done to reduce, because we may not fight and eliminate corruption 100%, but to reduce. Let's return.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
My question is, what is the difference between rental tax and income tax? How comes I'm paying both taxes on my own premises? If you want to have a tin, but you are not making any income from your business, you should take on the obligation to continue filing your nil return.
Commissioner General, to invest in taxation. When people understand taxes and they know the importance of taxes and they know the fair assessment of these taxes they're supposed to pay, I think everybody will embrace taxation.
As banning groupage cargo clearance protects small traders who cannot afford to import full container loads individually and rely on consolidation to remain competitive. Cargo to come in groupage is consolidation, it's legitimate, and we can't ban it. What we have banned, or what we have stopped, is the use of container leaders. Now, Fiona, the good news I have for you is that among the new tax proposals,
now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887 and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Booza Commissioner.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Welcome back from that break, and right now we want to go straight into what should be done. We've lamented, we've listed the challenges, the gaps. What should be done?
Okay, what needs to be done is really we need to scale up the fight. People need to see that there's no room for corruption. If someone has been arrested, investigations carried out, prosecuted, even others, heads must roll. Instead of merely paying lip service, that now we are going to call, zero tolerance. So you find those declarations in offices, zero tolerance, corruption-free place. I've been to some police stations and other places, and I see those slogans.
Police
there.
bond is free of charge.
Yes,
no one should pay for it.
A lot of sloganeering. Yet under the table, in the corridors, in the parking, other things are happening. So we need to move beyond sloganeering to actual action being taken. So there's that. But also the other thing is kutira kuliso, the political expedience, the political, that little bit of that. I think sometimes now, in the past few years, there's been a little bit of that. We need to scale back on that. I need to applaud President Museveni for what is happening now, and the CDF, but let's hope we can actually be consistent, that there should be no lack of momentum. We need to move full swing. That there shouldn't be something like the touchables and the untouchables. Let everybody be touched. So for as long as there's evidence, there's that the institutions need to be empowered. If someone is a thief, they should be arrested. And then on the cultural aspect, just like the president has been talking about patriotism, Ugandans need to be taught how to love their country and that. If we must invest in mind retuning, right from schools and social gatherings, to teach people corruption, not to be corrupt, not to give that bribe, not to take that bribe. let's invest in that also. Because the endemic corruption, money that is stolen, is in trillions. So how about just funding a few programs here and there at local government level, at all these levels, to reduce corruption? Because now it's in the psyche. I mean, I go to school sometimes and I find posters of little kids campaigning for this post and what. And then you hear they're also bribing at that level to be elected.
Sometimes, Daddy, I need some money.
Exactly.
You can't get me change.
Yeah, so this is a huge problem. So we need, even the judiciary, when there's a petition against someone, and then you see rulings like, oh yes, there's been evidence that there was bribery.
But it doesn't warrant.
It doesn't go fundamentally to overturn the result. Then you are seemingly fighting corruption. Then you're also not fighting it. So what's that?
The magnitude of effect.
All that legalese, trying to uphold a corrupt result. Yeah, so we need really, like the lifestyle audit, it needs to be rolled out at all sectors, at all levels. The corruption, the corrupt need to be held accountable. Even the language needs to be changed, because when people hear corruption, they think it's something sanitized. This is booby, it's theft. People need to call it that. I heard there's a neighboring country where they call it in a local language for people to know the effect of corruption. Someone was giving me an analogy that, let's say you served lunch, everybody has eaten, and then you reserve a certain dish for supper, and then a few minutes later someone goes to eat what has been reserved for the entire family. That they call that omululu. Okwekusa. So if the language that can be used in this fight actually puts to shame the corrupt,